가지야.
Let's begin with a basic explanation of the class. If you can figure out, then I'll punish everyone now then.
We already know who did it.
Was that?
It was Hero. He does not have an alibi. Don't try and deny it.
I didn't! Someone knocked me.
Shut your murdering mouth, murderer!
Who are you calling?
I am sorry to say, Hero, but blueprints for the suit. Parts we assume were used to build it, and all of it was found in it points to you as having.
How many times do I have to tell? I don't know.
가보자.
Everything we found in your room. The blueprints, the suit parts, they are all proof enough that you are the culprit.
I don't know anything about that stuff. It's not true. It's a conspiracy.
Hero, why? Why did you kill them?
No! Just hold on a second.
Everything we found in your room. The blueprints, the suit parts, they are all proof enough that you are the culprit.
It's not true. It's
Hero, why?
no. Just hold on a second.
그렇군. 글씨체가 좀 다른.
Everything we found in your room. The blueprints, the suit parts.
제발.
No, it's wrong.
Are we sure Hero...
What do you mean?
Well, it's the note that Hero wrote. The handwriting's... When you compare it to the blueprints.
There's no way you could think.
Unless that person.
No, the differences are bigger than that.
애초에
Come on.
저스티스로
I'm not smart enough to think of trying to change my handwriting
야마다가
anyway.
지을 때 얘는 없었던 것 같은데.
So Makoto.
And he is not the only one.
Then who was in that robot? Is it like Hero said? Was there really someone running around in a second suit?
The suspicious? Go ahead, Makoto.
So?
이렇게 뭐야? 이렇다고?
Shoot!
뭐요? 아니 들어가는 건 얘밖에
I
없어.
got it! Other than Hero, obviously he was the one...
Then there can be no...
That doesn't make any sense.
It makes perfect sense.
So what you're...
That's right. The culprit...
What? Now that's a bold And what reason do you have to make such a statement?
Of course. There's something else we need to clarify.
Hey, stop trying.
All things have a proper...
So what is it?
We must clarify them. It would seem that his corp Makoto...
다 마크로 시키고 있어.
I got it!
뭐야? 했잖아.
I got it! They were... So, let's... Taka's body disappeared from the... When we found it for... It was the... So the killer must have seen it that way.
Okay, that explains...
Same thing. I'm sure the dolly was in the... But when the body... Later, when so did the dolly.
In other words, but are you sure? Huh? Are you absolutely positive that dolly was made specific? It would be very strict. Is it not possible that it was it?
She's raised an objection.
There is no shame in being wrong. We have all accepted the fact.
미술창고에서 핏자국이잖아, 핏자국. 여기 뭐가 자꾸 새로운 게 나와. 뭐라는 겨? 뭐 자꾸 어려워져.
You have it wrong. I cannot agree. You are a fool. So pathetic. Lies will get you nowhere. Do your worst. You miserable wretch.
어떻게 붙어있더라?
I cannot agree.
어떻게 붙어있는 까먹었어. 아 맞아. 아이 기억났다. 우클릭 좌클릭.
You are a fool. Do your worst. You have it wrong. I cannot agree. You are a fool. So pathetic. Lies will get you nowhere. Do your worst. You miserable wretch. I cannot agree. You are a fool.
안 보여.
Do your worst. You miserable wretch. You have it wrong. I cannot agree. You are a fool. So pathetic. Lies will get you nowhere. Do your worst.
어우 씨 드디어 했네.
I cannot agree.
This should prove it.
어려워 리듬 게임.
If you're asking for proof that the dolly, when I found the dolly in the report, there was a pool of blood and the killer probably, and as the blood dripped, so there's my proof.
Well, anyway,
Yeah. The subject of how rope. What kind of rope?
I'm not sure that.
I'd be happy to explain why the occupant of the suit, if you look back on how the body was As we know, Taka was killed in the equipment room. And from there, the body was moved to the repository, correct?
Yeah. The culprit wrapped the body in the tarp, then loaded it onto the dolly and wheeled it off, right?
Now, keep in mind that the dolly doesn't have a handle.
Well, yeah. But even without a handle, all you'd have to do is bend over. Then you could push the dolly no problem.
오호. 의상이 발밑이 그렇다는 거네요.
So the killer carted the body off?
If you accept Ev, then you must
Realize that whoever was in the suit could.
Sorry, I don't think I realize anything.
As we know, Taka was killed in the equipment room.
And from there,
Yeah. The culprit then loaded it onto the...
now, keep in mind that the
Well, yeah. All you'd have to do is bend over.
No, that's wrong.
체력 좀 채워줬으면 좋겠는데.
You're absolutely right that you could, but if you were wearing that, think back to what you said. When you're in that suit, am I right about that?
Now that you mention
이
it,
친구 거기 나오는 그런 캐릭터. 그 제일 잘해준
Seems
캐릭터.
like it'd be awfully hard to push that dolly if you could.
well, what?
When you can't even see your feet?
Yeah, it'd be totally impossible. Not...
On top of that, it's very unlikely.
Well, I mean, isn't that...
자력으로 봐줄 수가 없었죠.
I got it! I don't think tape...
That's true.
Then... You...
Of course, he could have gotten it off by himself. Showing up in the suit with...
So...
To be clear, whoever did move the.
No, wait. Just... You all gotta... If whoever was in that suit...
너가 제일
Besides,
수상하다.
do you
그랬어요.
remember what the now deceased he...
제가 방금
So
이름
long as
제기를
those facts exist, the individual inside the suit and the cult.
Yeah. It's still far too. Besides, there's before we rush to a verdict. Instead of seizing on one viewpoint,
Perhaps. But where do we...
let's review this series of unfortunate events from the beginning.
I don't disagree, but our...
Plus, maybe we'll get to find out.
All right then. I suppose we could... Four of us gathered together in the dining hall. We waited there for quite a... That was around 8 a.m.
사쿠라 목소리 좋다.
And as soon as we split up, Kyoko went missing.
Soon after that, Hina found Celeste in the rec room and quickly came to get Makoto and me.
급히 나에게 애를 부른다.
It seems I was I know it was an hour.
That was when we saw Celeste's picture, and as it turns out, it also soon became clear. We were soon joined in our search by Byakuya and Toko, and then went on to find Hifumi in the library. He was injured, so we took him to the nurse's office and resumed our search for the but not long after leaving the nurse.
그러니까 도서관은 안 가봤지.
When Celeste told us that, and soon after that,
I saw someone moving around on the third floor.
and then
아무리 생각해도 야마다랑 세레스의 자작극 같은데.
at that point we decided Celeste, Hina, and I went back to the nurse's office, while Sakura, Byakuya... When we got back to the nurse, and that's when we heard the... I left Celeste and Hina there and headed back to...
Meanwhile, we had just discovered we must have found both bodies because we heard the same announcement.
And that's when I told you guys about Hifumi. Then the three of us headed for the nurse's office. But right after we left the physics lab, we ran into Celeste. We rushed back to the nurse's office.
Then we remembered we'd left Toko. But when we got there, next thing we knew, we were and after some...
Celeste informed us that she'd found the bodies, and we all headed to the
지금
repository,
이 트릭이죠.
which is where we rediscovered.
미술 창고로 언제 갖다 놨는지가.
I think that about...
I see. It certainly seems to me.
Okay, well...
Rather than a single series, and from there, we can... Now then, let's get...
로봇 쫓아가는데 로봇가 없었잖아. 시계도 좀 수상하네.
So, regarding Taka's death, I wonder if he died before Hifumi, or perhaps it was after?
We already know what order they were killed in. Taka came last.
What makes you say that?
멍청한 친구야. 착하죠.
Because of the numbering of the Justice Hammers.
It's true that Hifumi was killed with Justice Hammer 3,
이게 팀
while Taka's death came from a swing of Justice Hammer 4.
See? So it's obvious Taka came after. So, but I wonder if, or perhaps it was... We already know what order they were killed. Taka came last.
What makes you say that?
Because of the numbering of the Justice Hammers.
It's true that he
여기다
while
해야겠다.
Taka's death.
See? So it's obvious Taka came So,
여기다가 해야 되지.
regarding... I wonder if he... Or perhaps it was... We already know what order they were killed in. Taka came
뒤에
last.
What
거에다
makes you say
하는
that?
거죠.
Because of the numbering of the Justice Hammers.
아 아니네.
Shoot!
좀 아플 거야? 앞에 거라고?
I wonder if... Or perhaps it was... We already know what order they were killed in. Taka came last.
앞에 거 한번 써보고 아니면 저 모노크마 파일에
Because of the numbering of the Justice Hammers.
It's true that
나랑
Hifumi was while
같은
Taka's death.
거라는 게
See? So it's obvious Taka came.
더 신경을 쓰는데.
So, I wonder if, or perhaps it was. We already know what order Taka came last.
What makes you say that?
Because of the numbering of the justice hammers.
아 아니야. 체력바가 없는데.
So, regarding Taka, I wonder if, or perhaps it was. We already know what order they were killed in. Taka came last.
What makes you say
Because of the number.
It's true that while Taka's death.
See? So it's obvious Taka came. So, I wonder if, or perhaps it was. We already know what order they were killed in.
뭐야? 그렇다고? 왜 나로 결정되는 거야?
I refuse to give up yet!
뭐지?
So, regarding Taka, I wonder if, or perhaps it was. We already know what order they were killed in. Taka came last.
What makes you say that?
Because of the.
그거 어떻게 하더라? 그거 말고 막 하는 거 있지 않나? 이거 왼쪽이네. 아 이런.
It's true that Hifumi was while Taka's death.
See? So it's obvious Taka came. So, I wonder if you, or perhaps it was. We already know what order they were killed in. Taka came last.
what makes you say that?
Because of the numbering of the justice hammers.
It's true that Hifumi was
Killed with while Taka's death.
See? So it's obvious Taka came. So, regarding Taka, I wonder if we, or perhaps it was. We already know what order they were killed in.
그죠? 아, 복잡하게 만들었어. Wait.
Hold on. There's no reason to assume anything. That's just.
So you're saying the culprit wanted, but in reality, Okay then.
시계요. 품목시계죠? 시.
Now I understand. I've got it. See? Look.
It must have gotten broken. So if it wasn't broken after,
And that would be his official.
But if that's true, then
And before Celeste was attacked this morning.
that's right.
That simple fact, we made the wrong assumption.
That's exactly why the culprit was that way when we saw.
Now, if Taka was killed around 6, because when he was killed,
that may be true in the case, but all of our alibis still hold.
That's right. When we heard Hifumi screaming, we were all together. Then we all ran. That's totally true.
Oh, I know! They must have recorded.
If that's true,
I don't know.
don't just go making.
Anyway, we all have rocked since all of us were there together.
And it does not stop there. There was also the moment when his body vanished. Hina and I were in the bath, and then there's the disappearance of. At that time, we were all. Well, don't forget, I was passed out in the equipment.
Wait, then what if Genocide Jill did it?
Even if she could pull that off, there's because, as we just
Besides, I didn't do either of them. In other words, it is impossible that any of us could have. On the other hand, Hero.
for now, we can't get fixated. So instead of who, in particular, I think we need to.
That's true. And according to what Celeste... His body apparently disappeared in the wood to carry that much weight.
Oh man, yeah.
Well, what if the dead body were
그렇습니다.
The dead body?
I don't think it has anything to do with the occult. We thought Hifumi was dead.
He was.
Are you saying Hifumi wasn't?
But I mean,
Perhaps he was.
that.
일단 안경 닦기가 있겠네요. 안경 닦기.
Are you saying that when we first found Hifumi and there's a chance he was actually still alive?
No. Hifumi was dead.
And you know that how?
Surely you heard the body discovery announcement. Hifumi's dead body had been found.
이거는
And that
이게
is
그래서
why the announcement was made.
그
Are we
얘기를
really
아까
so
내가 한 게
sure about
그렇게
that?
됐구나.
Maybe the announcement was intended to signal someone else's discovery.
그죠?
Are you
한 바퀴
saying that when we
없어요.
first there's a chance he was actually?
No, it is impossible. Hifumi was dead, without a doubt.
And you know that how?
Surely you heard the body discovery announcement along with the rest of us. Hifumi's dead body had been found. And that is why the announcement.
Are we really so sure that maybe the announcement was intended to signal someone else's discovery?
저희 다 손을
Are you saying that when we first there's a chance he was actually?
No. Hifumi was dead, and you know that. Surely you heard the body discovery. Hifumi's dead body had been found.
No, that's wrong!
바로 죽었죠.
Was the body discovery announcement?
Of course it was.
Maybe. But
That's right. It was.
So there's a good... I think we've confused...
First of all, if two bodies had been found.
Maybe
What do you say, Monaco?
Well, it's a but what I can't. It's only broadcast.
That didn't answer our question, man.
No, actually, he said it's only broadcast. Even if we find the same body again later, he won't. If that's true, then why was the...
Huh? Later on.
Exactly.
이후에
We heard the...
미술관.
I got it! We heard it a second time. It didn't seem weird at the time.
Exactly. If we were acting
And in reality, when the two dead bodies were being discovered,
So when we found Hifumi, meaning he wasn't actually found.
and that's just part of it.
방송까지
There's one other
트릭을
thing that leads me to believe he
미리
was still alive in the
알아챘죠.
nurse's office.
잘난 척.
I know because he was super good at playing dead.
that is the worst, but honestly, I do not.
Okay then. Let's take then it should become clear whether he
This whole thing.
안경 닦기.
Well, here's one thing we do know. The first time we found Hifumi's body was in the nurse's office. And then, while me and Celeste were in the bathroom, his body disappeared.
And the next time we saw his body, it was in the repository.
But when you compare his body before being moved, and his body other than the change in how it was positioned,
뭐야? 아씨 너무 성급했죠?
well, here's one. The first time we found Hifumi's body was in the nurse's office. And then, while me and Celeste, his body disappeared.
And the next time it was in the
But when you compare his body before the other than the change in how it was positioned, there was no notable difference.
아 이거였어.
No, it's wrong.
역시 한 번은 봐야.
In fact, there was one his glasses. That fact alone proves that he was only playing dead in the beginning.
Perhaps you'd like.
When we found Hifumi, but when we found him, they were spotless. And I found the items he used to wipe them.
안경 닦기.
I got it! It was a
처음
glasses
시작부터
cleaning cloth. One look at
눈치를
this
채는
piece of cloth was used to wipe
속속이.
Hifumi's glasses, and the mascot on the cloth, and whose digital.
The character was...
I highly doubt anyone but
I see your
저거 이거
point.
외우고 있네.
I wouldn't be caught.
A few tissues is all I need.
Then there's no question. What I'm saying is,
Even if that is true.
but who would benefit from a clean pair?
That's a good
And it must have been him.
So let's assume that Hifumi he pretends to be dead. Then he stands up, and with that, the impossible...
But then, if he was just pretending to be dead, what was with all that?
The fridge in the nurse's office,
He figured if he was gonna play dead, but he got crazy with it and had to wipe his glasses.
and if Hifumi was still alive at that, it should be perfectly...
그러면 이게 야마다가 되겠지.
I got it! If it only...
While we were all gathered in the nurse...
That also explains how the door to the...
The door was locked.
well, after the body, so me and Sakura had. But when we got there,
And the repository door can only... Which means when Hina and Sakura...
And it could only have been
He convinced us all he was dead. So, Hifumi wasn't just enough...
But that means
If you're having trouble, would you like...
There's more.
Oh, absolutely. The single biggest fact pointing to his... You know what I'm talking about, right, Makoto? The item he took off of...
뭐 뺏었니? 아니고. 이거구만.
I got it! You're talking about the note Hifumi... That's right.
What? Yeah?
Okay, well, forget...
That's the note I was telling. Wait, Monokuma can't find out.
See. Then,
그렇지.
in other words, the killer and that person could only have been...
팬티 진짜. 여기 뭐 나도 아니고 팬티도 아니면 너무.
I got it! That's right! The killer used this note.
Hello? Over here. I don't really understand what's going on. So whoever wrote it wasn't drawing out TikTok. They were...
just
Oh! Yes! What?
엄청 많아. 진짜 세척된 힘은 뭘까?
Puppy had the note, right? Then the person it was intended for must have been Happy!
But remember what the note said.
아이,
What time did it say to meet?
6 a.m., I believe.
The time doesn't matter! The note has nothing to do with TikTok!
아이.
Puppy had the note, right? Then the person it was intended for must have been Happy!
아이,
But remember what the note said. What time did it say to meet?
6 a.m., I believe.
The time doesn't matter! The note has nothing to do with TikTok!
아이, 진짜 짱나. 일단 메모의 내용을
Puppy had the note, right? And the person it was intended must have been Happy!
But remember what the note said.
나중에 있고요.
what time did it say to 6 a.m.?
The time doesn't matter! The note has nothing to do with TikTok!
에이, 진짜.
Puppy had the note, right? Then the person it was intended for must have been Happy!
아니야? 희음이 누구야?
Shoot!
헷갈려.
Puppy had the note,
희음이
right?
야마다죠?
Then the person it was intended for must have been Happy!
찢겨진 종이 그것도 있는데.
But remember what the note said. What time did it say to meet?
6 a.m., I believe.
The time doesn't matter! The note has nothing to do with TikTok!
신호가
Puppy had the note, right?
remember what the note said. What time did it say to me?
6 a.m.
The time doesn't matter. The note has nothing to do with
제발
TikTok.
맞아라. 진짜.
Puppy had the note, right? And the person it was in must have been happy.
But remember what the note said. What time did it say to me?
6 a.m. The time doesn't matter. The note has nothing to do with TikTok.
아니 써야 돼. 진짜. 아,
Puppy had the note, right? Then the person it was intended for must have been happy.
But remember what the note said. What time did it say to me?
6 a.m. The time doesn't matter. The note has nothing to do with TikTok.
이거 아니야?
Shoot!
아니 키오가 누구고 휴
Puppy had the note, right?
헷갈릴 수도 있네. 그럼 얘가 야마다
Then the person it was intended for must have been happy.
이게
But
아닌데.
remember what the note said. What time did it say to me?
6 a.m. I believe.
The time
어?
doesn't
아
matter.
시가 있네요.
The note has nothing to do with TikTok.
시계.
Puppy had the note. Then the person it was must have been happy.
But remember what time did it?
6 a.m. The time doesn't matter. The note has nothing to do with TikTok.
사실 아 나이스.
No, it's wrong.
다 이때 헷갈릴 수
No.
있는.
The note said to me that you've already proven, but there's more. The equipment room, right?
Which is where Taka.
So, Taco, I think that should be plenty to show that.
No further objection.
Then someone used that note to The culprit will.
But if they gave the note to Taka, stuff down his pants.
Most likely. Hifumi.
Where's your proof?
조금만 여기 있죠?
I got it! When I searched Taka's body, if I'm right about it, I knew it! It fits perfect.
Then Taka's scrap.
Yup.
If Fumi had the note meant for Taka, there's only one
Taka died clutching the note, leaving behind, oh did I get all that?
That means Hifumi knew that.
exactly. Which
Whoa, yeah. After seeing all. In fact, he was behind the whole thing!
Sorry. When we found him in the repository, Hifumi
다리가
was
진짜
truly the
짧다.
second body discovery.
So then,
Whoever did,
he was killed in the repository. So he must have been killed.
so he must have been killed after Taka's body vanished.
During that time, we'd all split up and were searching for Taka's missing body. In other words, during that time,
wait. But stop trying to steal the spot. Who are you calling a...
Anyway, when they were killed,
And what might that...
the weapon they used to kill Hifumi!
The weapon?
Yeah. Because, I mean, the way Taka and Hifumi, but Justice Hammer 3 and 4 were still laying around. So if Hifumi was the culprit, would have had to then put the
세척된 게.
I'm surprised.
Hell yeah.
He's right though. The Monokuma but if the hammers were...
So the question is, personally, so which hammer was used...
Those were accounted for in other rooms.
Is it not possible that
I don't think it is possible.
So then,
밝힐 수 있습니다. 어렵지 않아요. 세척된 해머가 있죠.
what was
이거
used to
웬만하면
kill
그냥 바로
Hifumi?
쓸 수 있겠는데요.
Was it Justice Hammer 3? Maybe Justice Hammer 4?
Well, whatever it was, there's one thing we have to figure out. How was the culprit able to move around so freely with the weapon? How did nobody witness them carrying it? Sounds like a Justice Hammer 5 is about to make its appearance! Check out murdergear.com/hammertime for more info!
Well, one thing seems pretty clear. The murder weapon had to be one of the Justice.
에휴.
No, it's wrong. The murder weapon wasn't
But
specifically a hammer from the repository. Now, all the hammers in the repository were covered in flecks of grit, and for some reason, and the reason it had been scrubbed clean, if the hammer got covered in I'd also like to point out that the repository has and even some flat mallet-like ones. I think whoever made the
If that's true.
So Hifumi moved Taka's body to...
Whoever did that is the... Hold on a moment. The way the graduation rule, so the idea that anyone would work together like...
그거 준다면 되잖아. 컴퓨터. 여기엔 없네요. 딱 봐도.
Based on the rules that have been laid out, even if more than one, only the one who actually carried out it, assuming the rule holds true. It is simply impossible that two people work together on this.
That is how the rule was explained to us.
But that only really applies if there's one murder, right? In this case, however, there were two murders.
뭐야?
Based on the rules that have been laid out for us, even if more than one person is complicit in the murder, only the one who actually carried out the act, assuming the rule holds true. It is simply impossible.
That is
사건은 두
But
개를
that only really applies if there's one. In this case, however, there were two murders.
Based on the rules that have been, even if more than one person is only the one who actually carried out the act, assuming the rule holds true.
No, it's wrong. Since there were two murders, it's at least plausible that more than one person...
What do you mean?
If there'd only been one murder, naturally, if only one person can be saved per murder,
Risk first.
the payoff for working together, there's no point in being... However, if there were some...
You're saying that two people...
I think that's what the true killer told me, and based on the case's events, Hifumi would have been... They made him carry out the first murder, so he couldn't back...
So in this case, there wasn't one instead. Each, and it only looked like one person, a single suspicious individual, by creating one seamless...
The mastermind picked their target and managed to convince him to go along with their plan, and then to avoid the Noah, which, if true...
That's just...
You think so? I can't help but admire...
I understand how an accomplice could be involved.
That's problem number...
여기 있습니다.
Here's my answer. It was select...
So I'm the... I...
A joke?
So what you are saying then? The idea that I would go within 10 feet of that shit...
Just to be clear,
Is that so?
it is. Throughout the investigation, considering what we've learned so...
아침에 큰 소리를 외쳤다. 괴한의 목격. 이거죠?
I got it!
팬티 저에게
The behavior they had in common, the only ones who ever acted...
Shush! As he said, only Celeste, and if we accept that Hifumi was one of the culprits, we...
Are you saying...
After taking Hifumi to the nurse's office, and not too long after that... We headed to the second floor specifically because of what she claimed to have seen. Next, to draw us all to the physics lab up on the third floor,
She let out a blood.
그렇습니다.
and when we'd all come to see what was...
처음부터 너무 수상했는데. 아, 2층에
Once
있을 때
she'd done her
4층에
job of getting us, it was time for her...
피났죠.
It was to get us to...
In fact, Celeste was... Well, if Celeste... And on top of that... That was to signal Hifumi was... It was your way of telling him... Why else would you let out a...
I just realized when we found Hifumi in the nurse's office... Celeste, you were the first. You wanted to make sure we wouldn't have...
I don't...
Hina, you were with Celeste when Hifumi's...
Yeah? I was feeling kinda sick. Wait!
She wasn't worried about you. She just...
Each piece isn't much by itself. Wouldn't you?
I have no idea.
Don't bother trying to deny it. You made one fatal mistake.
Oh, did I?
I didn't even catch it myself when you're looking back. I can say that I'm talking about what you said after Hifumi's body disappeared and we returned.
I remember her saying that.
Then pay attention. Sakura, Toko, and I were first to discover. Then Makoto showed up and told us Hifumi had been. Once we were in the hall, we ran it now. The entire time, think about it. Celeste's come.
Yeah, I see what you're talking about.
You hear that, Celeste? Everyone, if you're really not the culprit.
그들 여기서의 세레스의 증언은 뭐지? 화장실에 있었다. 예쁜 거니까.
They must really be enjoying this. Enjoying the sight of us standing around,
그들.
frightened and
그들처럼.
confused. They must be positively elated. We are all going to die here.
그들처럼.
We are going to die, just like those guys died. And that is all I say.
And that's all it takes to finish this. It's obvious, isn't it? What
자기
was so
한 말을
strange
그렇게
about Celeste's comment?
잘 기억해. 아 이거 아니야? 아 끝까지 좀 보자. 제발 끝까지 좀 봅시다.
All I said, they must really enjoying the sight of us. They must be. We are all going to die. We are going to die, just like those guys died. And that is.
And that's all it took. What was so strange about Celeste's comment?
All I said was they must really enjoying
부자연스러운
the sight of us. They
정을
must be.
캐치해서 그들을
We are
봐야
all going to. We are going to die. And that is.
And that's all it takes to fit.
What was so strange about Celeste's comment?
All I said, they must really enjoying the sight of us. They must be. We are all going to die here. We are going to die, just like.
No, that's wrong. That's right. There's no... When she said that, none of us...
Exactly. And so there was never any chance for.
So how did you know? How did you know more than one person? Because Kyoko had also
You all have such
Imagination.
You claim that I was. Then what about the picture I took? How do you explain this picture of the?
말 돌리죠.
It has Celeste put the suit on. And
Have you so quickly forgotten? Plus, I happen to know. In other words, it is an unassailable fact if everything I told you was simple.
Are we? What could you? Surely there are other explanations.
No, there isn't.
야마다가 괴한을 가지고
I got it!
이겁니다.
It's not a picture of the suspect dragging Hifumi. I would say it's a picture...
That's certainly with. The one being dragged off in that we've simply been led to believe. And the strange cost if you saw someone wearing something.
that's what happened! You
Is utterly if Hifumi was dragging him.
Is it?
Then shut your mouth and allow me to.
들려주시죠. 너무 많아. 로봇
me
설계도
up in that suit after I passed out. Then you just dragged me across Hifumi and had him carry my weight. You tried to make me look like the bad guy.
Like I said, ridiculous. As you can see in the picture, the suspect is standing perfectly upright. If the person inside the suit was unconscious, there's no way they could stand.
허리가 90도 이상 돌아가지 않는다. 요거 이상.
Then the fortune-telling idiot is the culprit after all!
No way!
You dressed me up in that then you just dragged me across. You tried to make me look like.
Like I said, as you can see in the picture, that says if the person inside the suit, there's no way they could stand up.
No, that's wrong.
break.
No. Even if the person, because that robo
That's right! I'm not so I think the suit was designed.
Celeste and Hifumi took. That's how they were able to. The point of it all was.
Well then,
Don't make me laugh, you idiot! What do you... So clearly, you want to cram me into your head. You already forgot it?
야스히로.
When we asked him who had attacked, he said... In other words,
Wait! But my name isn't really Yasuhiro! It's...
Your confusing statements don't make.
He did say Yasuhiro.
What the hell are you talking...
Kyoko.
Think back to how Hifumi used to talk to us. How did he refer to each of us?
뭐야. 몰라. 퍼스트 네임으로 부르지 않았을까?
Shoot!
아이, 내가 어떻게 기억해, 뭐를.
Think back to how did he refer to each of us?
I got it! That's right!
Exactly. So if Hifumi did mean to say,
I'm sure it was indecent.
don't talk.
random chance. No, there's no reason to think, but he must have run out.
So Hifumi was trying to tell us.
The name he said doesn't apply.
Well, no. And that's Celeste.
To think you... Come on! Enough with... Well? What?
Okay, then.
My real name is Celestia Ludenberg. Could you...
전작생 수첩이 나올 때가 됐네요. 와. 전작생 수첩. 이름이 표시된다.
He wanted us to know the killer's last name, Yasuhiro.
If there's one person here who might have that last name...
It would have to be you, Celeste. You haven't told anyone what your real name is.
How many times do I have to tell you? My name is... Celestia Ludenberg! God damn it!
Oh.
How long do you plan to go on pretending?
I'm not pretending. It's the truth. And since you have no way to contradict me...
No, that's wrong! That's it!
What?
Anytime you turn your Monokuma...
아이, 너무 억지다.
So all we have to do,
성이었잖아.
that's how we...
That's... I mean, babe...
Celeste, can you please?
Even when I'm put in check because... Until the game's over, you...
Fine then. Let me go over the case again, and that'll...
진짜 야마다가 어떻게 죽었는지가 좀 심각한데. 거래를 하는 장면인데. 액트 2. 아니, 이거 기절시킨 장면인데. 이게 아니고, 그러면. 옷을 입히고 액세서리 얘가 해머 4번이죠. 벌써 피가 묻어있으면 안되고 시계가 6시인데 여기서 시계에 금이 가는 장면이 있나요? 없죠? 그건 이거겠지. 이렇게 맞았다라고 했을 때 카메라를 봤을 때 해머 얘가 맞은 게 이번에 맞아. 죽은 척을 소리를 지르나? 해머 3번 3번이죠. 여기서 와서 공간을 풀어놓으면서 과자도 있는 거야. 공장면이지? 여기가 해머 세척하는 장면. 세척하는 게 안 나오나? 이거겠고 여기 이거 있는데 이 표정 운반을 해서 풀어놓는 거. 그러니까 바퀴에 뭐가 있으면 있는 거 아닌가? 이 장면은 뭐야? 가방의 의미를 도저히 모르겠는데요?
Here's exactly what happened. Before anything, the killer
손잡는 장면.
Hifumi, with an accomplice, the killer was able to execute. First, that some murderous duo intended to. They drugged him.
아이고야. 옷 입히고 그냥 카메라 꺼내는 거. 그러면은 이 장면은 이번에 옮기는 장면이야. 그러면 여기에 속하겠죠?
The killer is you! They drugged him, knocked. Next, Hifumi, because while the killer used it, they did all this just when they were done with him. And then finally, they called Taka to the. And that's where Hifumi killed him. The murder weapon was just his hammer. The reason hammer number 4 was used. So, next for these attacks, the first fake incident was the attack there. The killers wanted us to see they wanted to make sure we bought this. So the second fake incident, this time, they put these two incidents. That the suspect was increasing the size. We fell right into their... While we did that, this was exactly what he took a blood packet from the refrigerator and turned the room into a crime scene. He let out a scream to draw us back. Meanwhile, so when we heard the body we left the nurse's office. When we learned his body had disappeared, and once again, he wrapped Taka's body in it. That explains how... But even Hifumi didn't know what... Their plan all along was to kill Hifumi, and they did it using an orb. That should cover every...
뭐야 이거?
Celeste!
Complete.
I lost. When was the last they hang?
Then you admit it?
I, Celeste Taiko. Yasuhiro is fine.
Taiko?
So,
I'm the kind of person.
완전 못했어요. 잘했는데?
Okay, Monokuma. Or, I suppose this is the end.
It is indeed the moment, if you would. Please, and when the votes are, will you make the right choice?
이 진짜 해악스러운 장면.
Honestly,
I knew it. So then,
indeed.
노트북.
Say what?
just a second. In other words,
Indeed.
I see.
Actually,
What?
are you okay with it? So then,
Damnation! Say
as for me,
Oh.
as for me,
What? Damnation! Say what?
most unfortunate. Actually,
이거는 관련이 없었네요.
What?
있었나?
indeed.
Leon's?
Honestly,
I swear!
actually,
I see.
indeed.
But
Let's see.
Well,
Are you okay with...
so in the end,
What the heck? Well,
Don't be mean!
I wonder about that.
Why?
What the heck?
But
You little bitch! Hey! You little bitch! This is fine. Honestly. As for me, isn't it wonderful? This is fine. There is nothing to be done.
Just the worst.
Oh. Do you understand?
What is that?
Yes, indeed. Isn't it wonderful?
hey,
Chills! Now then, I've prepared a let's give it.
I guess I'll let Kyoko hold on. What? Will it really give you the hope? Which is why, actually. Well then, perhaps we'll meet again.
정신이 이상한 아이였어. 화용이야? 화용도 아니야.
What are you gonna do?
let me up!
Too bad. How strange. Hey! What?
So then, you...
Ooh.
Hey,
Ooh. Hello. Well, see ya.
So...
Hey,
Indeed.
바로 시작해? 저장은 좀 해주지.
Hey,
What?
so...
Come on. What? Goodbye.
well then.
Yo!
Okay.
Shall we go?
6명 나온 거야?
So then... You... However... What? Indeed. What?
처음 그 연예인 친구 벌써 잊은 듯한
It's true.
느낌이.
That's fine.
다음 챕터에 뭐야, 바로 시작해?
Correct.
뭐가 있는데? 헐?
Correct.
뭐야? 다 없어졌네. 초록색이 없네. 무슨 일이야?
Wow! How dare this?
I've made it. I will no longer retreat. I've made my. I'm going.
But you haven't what I'm holding.
끝. 일곱 명 남았습니다. 저장을 너무 쉽 듣기는 쉬웠는데 여전히 오늘은 여기까지 하도록 하겠습니다.